Hi there, welcome to the latest edition of RedArmy TV. In a week that's seen the Boro have a couple of games with no points in return, with another hard game down at Swansea at the weekend. We're doing this show straight after the Bristol City game, so I've got a couple of subdued guests in the studio, Mr. Chris Lofthouse from RedArmy TV and RedArmy Social, and the RedArmy Rambler, that is Mr. Phil Bullock. Gentlemen, good evening.
All right.
Good evening.
I'm sure we will come on to the sombre moment of the Bristol City game as well, but we've got a bit to talk about. It's been a massive week for the club, really. I just want to touch on Norwich. It hasn't been a good week overall. Obviously, we have the league leaders coming into town. We know the score, yet another defeat. However, Phil, first 20 minutes started well, didn't we?
I thought we started fantastic first 20 minutes against Norwich. I think we've all got to remember that Norwich aren't a mid-table team. They're flying high, they're up there. And it probably should have been a lot harder for us than what it was, and I think we were lucky to come away with just conceding one.
Chris, your thoughts on the late game on Saturday, the Norwich game?
I think we started with a bit. There was a lot of positivity and a lot of chasing the ball, which we haven't seen last few games. You know, there was a lot of chasing the ball down from the front, you know, across the whole pitch as well, which I was quite pleased by. And we went in at half time fairly, you know, 0-0 against Norwich, who were, you know, beating pretty much everybody to play. So we went in 0-0 at half time, and I was thinking, well, yeah, we've done well. You know, I'm happy with that. I've got no complaints. You know, let's try and build on it second half. And unfortunately, they came out and did in the second half what we did in the first half, which was chasing everything down, working hard, and trying to find that breakthrough from, you know, a bit of luck or a mistake or something. So it was a bit disappointing.
I mean, the goal we conceded, Phil, not a typical goal. You know, I'll go back, say, 8 weeks. The Boro wouldn't have conceded a goal like that. Bit of a comedy of errors.
Yeah, I think what let us down, I think, was individual decision making that led to conceding that goal. I said it on the day. I said it on RedArmy Social a few days ago, and I say it again tonight. I think decision making has been a massive downfall for us this season, and that was epitomised there, wasn't it? It was decision making let us down. We conceded a goal. We couldn't do anything about it.
Little stuff for you, Chris. Norwich City flying high, top of the table. Odds-on favourites now for promotion. £5 million are spent all season. How does that compare to what our club spent, and what for instance, our striker, £15 million or Sombalonga? A lot of money, isn't it?
It's a lot of money, and you know, you could say that Gested's probably earned that in wages over the last couple of years as well. You know, it's we seem to be squandering money left, right, and centre, or we have been. You know, as much as we like to say that you know, we've tried to balance the books and Pulis is signed sensibly and all this type of stuff. Really, you know, looking at what other clubs have brought in, you know, players that are successful, we've wasted a lot of money. We've wasted a hell of a lot of money, and it's going to be detrimental to us going forward, because if we do look to, I know I'm jumping ahead of ourselves, but if we do look to build in something next season, how do we do that without any funds? It's going to be difficult.
I mean, one sort of chink of good news sort of came out after the Norwich game, didn't it? The Downing saga was finally over, Phil. Yeah. Now, obviously, I've been on Social and this show many times about the Downing. It's been a little bit of a bugbear of mine, to be fair.
I'm upset you don't have that to rant about now.
I know, yeah. my big point is, and I'm sure everybody at home will know it, my big point was I had a grievance with the club, because the club writes the contracts. You know, businessmen write the contracts. Players play football. Yes, agents get their little cut. We know they do. But it's took Stewie, Phil, to sort this problem out. Now, just from some of the social media I've read and some news reports, it was Downing who has gone to the club and said, let's sort this out, not the other way. What do we think about that?
Look, the last game he started for Middlesbrough was the 1-1 draw with Millwall, which was January. It's taken 3 months for this dispute to be sorted. Don't get me wrong, I'm glad now that there's another player that we can see come on the pitch and start a game and be optimistic about somebody starting the game. But 3 months for this issue to be rectified, the fact that it's been the player that's had to approach the club and say, look, you know, what can we do to sort it out? Why weren't the club jumping on that and saying, money's tight, it's not going to happen, let's see if we can thrash something else out.
It is
Why is
shambolic,
it
isn't
3
it,
months for this to be sorted?
Yeah, it is shambolic that it's took that long and it's took the player to actually approach the club. And the other thing that's quite telling as well is the first opportunity we've got to start him, he starts and he makes a difference. He was playing well. Again, I'm jumping to tonight's game, Bristol game, but he played well.
Well, I mean, Pulis.
Where would we be if we'd had that over the last 8 weeks, 10 weeks?
I mean, we know, don't we, that Pulis, Downing is loved by Pulis. I mean, one of the very first press conferences we all know, he said, "I'd love to have a team of 11 Downings." But I mean, how frustrating has it been for Pulis not to have him in the team, Chris?
Probably just as frustrating as the fans not having him to I'm not saying he's a knight in shining armour. He's not going to come on and perform miracles, but just to have the option of him playing week in, week out, certainly helps. You want your best. You want you to pick from your best squad. And I'm sure for Stuart, it's clearly been frustrating enough for him to approach the club and say, "Look, we need this sorting out, and I need to be playing football."
I think it's good for a player, especially a homegrown player, to approach your club and say, "Look," because potentially, a lot of players would have looked at that and said, "Well, actually, no, you've done me over there a little bit. You brought me from a Premier League club. You wanted me back here. You broke your back to get me in. Now you've negated on what you said you were going to do."
But is that essentially not what we've done with Tony Pulis?
Quite possibly. I don't think he's coming here thinking he hasn't got money to spend.
Tony Pulis has not come to this club knowing he's got nothing to spend. He's found that out after he signed on a dotted line. And it's the same unfortunately with Stuart Downing. He's come to the club knowing that there's a chance of a contract extension if it goes well, an increase in his salary to see him off the rest of his career. He's played his socks off, to be fair to him. Last season was superb, knowing that this game was coming up where he would trigger this automatic extension, and the club have just gone, actually,
stop.
That's not happening.
For me, the situation with Downing on a smaller scale is on the large scale is what's happening now with Tony Pulis.
Yeah, sort of the rug pulled from underneath him, hasn't he? So going the other way, fellas, obviously, and we spoke on many shows, Van La Parra, who was quite apparent now, in my opinion, that was brought in on an emergency because obviously Stewie, they knew that Stewie wasn't going to trigger this clause, so they were going to sit him out. So they brought Van La Parra in. Never kicked the ball in anger. I think 20 minutes at Newport, Phil.
20 minutes. Newport.
What do we make of that saga?
Do you know? I honestly don't know what to say about it, because if the club have brought him in as a bit of an emergency loan because of the Downing saga, it's comical really that the 1st of April we're being told that Downing signed a waiver, and then the day later, or the same day, Van La Parra's gone back to Huddersfield because he's got an injury that nobody knew about.
Yeah, I think that's probably...
It's too sus.
I think that's... And, this is me being a pessimistic Teessider and reading between the lines. I think he's probably gone back because he wasn't needed. And now Downing's available again, and they've used the injury as a bit of a cover.
How has he got injured?
I don't know.
Has he crocked his back standing up, or?
What I was wondering was what was the point in bringing him in the first place for cover when we've got a ready-made winger on the bench?
I presume it was because in January, when Downing was obviously told you're not going to be playing, if at that point he goes, okay, then I'm going. The first club that comes in for me, I want to go, then we've already brought cover in.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it is.
I mean, like I said, a bit of it for me is, I think it's a bit of a decoy signing. So at the end of the transfer window, we can say, well, we've brought a Premier League attacker in. We're adding to the squad.
So
we haven't really, but it's just.
How do we look at him then, Phil? Sorry, Chris. How do we look at him then? Did he have a fair crack of the whip, or wasn't he good enough?
I think for me, probably a bit of both. I don't think he was given a chance, because I don't really think there was a role in the team for him. He was kind of brought in for a number of different reasons to plug gaps here and there. And I think if he was good enough, they'd have probably made a space for him, if that makes sense.
Like
if he was good enough, they'd have played
like they have done with Mikel, really.
Yeah. I mean, like I said at the top of the show, fellas, it's been an absolute turbulent week, really, for the Boro. 2 home games, one of them being, obviously, we're doing this show right on the back of the Bristol City game, which was our game in hand. Now, we're going to come on and speak about that more in detail. I'll go straight into the Bristol City game just before we go to the break, fellas. How important was it to see Downing in that starting 11 against Bristol City?
For me, I wasn't that bothered. I wasn't massively excited that he was, he's back, he's getting a chance. But when he played, he created and he got some crosses in. He was beating his man, and he looked. I wouldn't say like the Downing of old, but he certainly contributed a lot more than he has done.
Yeah, same as Chris. Really, I think I didn't expect it. I did expect him to go straight back into the squad. It wasn't really a surprise. We knew it was going to happen as soon as he became available. It's a shame that he wasn't available for Norwich.
Fellas, we'll just take a quick break for Teesside TV, and we've got loads to talk about Bristol. See you on the other side of this break. Hi and welcome back to RedArmy TV. Doing this show straight after the Bristol City game. So we're quite subdued in the studio, to be fair, the week that we've had. Fellas, we'll go straight into it. Bristol City. Again, fellas, I thought we started really well for the first 20, but I think that's been the story of probably our home season at the minute. You know, we start off 20 minutes in, it doesn't sort of happen for us and we fall apart. Chris, I'll start with you. Did Tony Pulis get the tactics right tonight?
I honestly don't know how to answer that question, if I'm completely honest with you, because we couldn't have done anything more but score. We played well. We were chasing balls. Even I've been on British Malonga's back for quite a while. Even tonight, I said to Phil, I think by his standards, he had a really, really good game. He was winning the ball. He wasn't dallying on it. I don't think we could have done much more apart from put the ball in the net. We were creating chances, but we could have been 3-4-0 up at half time. The game could have easily ended 5-1. And I can't say that for previous games. So I think we've certainly stepped it up. And even the tactics and the formation that we played looked more attacking than we have done previously.
It wasn't just our forwards trying to score. I mean, Saville had a shot, Howson had a couple of attempts. We had shots cleared off the line. We hit the post. It's funny how we literally cannot hit a barn door 9 times out of 10, but give us a post and we can hit that twice in 30 seconds.
Cleared off the line, post, all sorts.
But I think added to the fans' frustrations that we can't score, the pressure must be insurmountable against them players because they know they need to score. They know that they've gone 4-5 games now without a win, and they know goals wins games. The pressure of them, and I mean, there was a point tonight where I think Howson probably should have scored. And I just think the pressure
was probably easy to score.
And he's been that desperate to try and put the ball in the back of the net. Skied it, Rosette.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll come on to the stats a little bit about, how many defeats and goals against and things like that. We'll do that in a little bit. But just looking at the action, fellas, you are right. I mean, I think in the first half, the Boro could have quite easily been 4-0 up.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Whether that's me looking through my rose-tinted glasses, I don't know, but I thought the chances were created to be there.
We couldn't have done any more but put the ball in the net. And that wasn't for the want of trying.
Yeah.
We had so many chances.
We spoke just before the break about Downham being back in the side. Now, I thought Downham, certainly first half, was putting balls in from a left winger position, reminiscent of like the UEFA Cup days. Like when he was creating goals. His first touch tonight and ball, whether he had something to prove.
I think there was a bit of that.
Whether he has something to prove. But the balls into the box tonight from Downham were fantastic. Forwards, I thought Ashley Fletcher was good, Phil, as well. I thought his movement and his touch was really good. We've got 3 forwards at the club. Is it enough? Or are we at a stage now where why don't we bring a couple of young'uns in?
I think confidence across the board is that low. And I think even tonight, I think it's fair to say Mikel wasn't at his best.
No. He had a shocker at Norwich, but tonight he wasn't quite as bad.
And I don't think it matters who we bring in. The confidence is that low right now around the club. It's all doom and gloom. And I think really, at the end of the game tonight, every single Boro player just collapsed in a heap. Desperation, and I think that's the point.
They know they couldn't have done much more. Are we going to talk about the crowd's reaction? I mean, come on.
What we'll do is I just want to talk about the goal they scored because a bit like the Norwich goal, it's a really, really amateur goal to give away. You know, from my opinion, it's a really horrible goal to give away. One, it's from a set piece.
Yeah.
And two, from where I sit in the stadium, fellas, you had Shotton blaming Dale Fry shouting at Shotton, and Flint just holding his arms out like this, as though to say, what are you both doing? Now, in my opinion, I've got to go on the side of maybe it was Shotton's man. Shotton seemed to be on the back post.
I didn't see whose man it was. I only saw it in real
Dale
time.
Fry's 2 yards in front of the man. Shotton's 2 yards behind. That guy got a free header. Would we have conceded a goal, Chris, 6 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago?
I don't
Bear
think
in mind
so,
the defence that we've been bleating on about all season.
Yeah.
Our good defensive record, and we've let 2 goals in a week, which are amateur goals, really. Amateur goals.
Set pieces are sort of what Tony Pulis' teams are.
It's bread and butter to a defender, isn't it? A set piece.
Yeah. You know, forward and up front and at the back, but we can't defend a set piece and we can't score from a set piece. You know, we've got Aidan Flint. I'm not pointing the finger at him in particular, but Aidan Flint, you know, one of the reasons we thought he was going to be an asset was his goal scoring record.
Yeah, I'm struggling to see why we've bought him. I mean, he can head a ball. Don't get me wrong, he can head a ball, but you ask him to put a direction on there or edit to a single player out to head it to, it is not going to happen. All we saw tonight, and he can get distance on it, and I get that, but why
he's
is he
an
just
old-fashioned defender, isn't he?
Every opportunity he's just heading it, and there's nobody up there. And I mean,
he put one wide from 6 yards today.
Yeah.
So, fellas, we've got to go to the stats. That's obviously 5 defeats on the bounce, which speaks volumes, doesn't it? 2 goals for and 9 goals against. So that good defensive records is slipping and slipping.
I'll be honest, I was surprised that Ayala was dropped tonight. I'll be honest.
Actually, we mentioned it.
The way that Tony Pulis has gone on and said, 3 out of 4 red cards this season have been overturned, and Ayala's featured in the majority of games that he's not been sent off. To drop him tonight just out of the blue, I just thought, weird. But it is what it is. We are where we are.
I mean, looking at those stats, early part of the season, the football wasn't great. We weren't scoring a lot of goals, but we weren't conceding any. Correct me if I'm wrong. At some point this season, or for quite a while this season, we had the best defensive record in the top 4 divisions.
Yes.
And we've
still got a goalkeeper with the most clean sheets.
Where would we be without him? By the way, where would we be? But we didn't mind because we were nicking the odd win. We were scraping draws here and there. Now it's awful football, and we don't have the defence to back it up. So it's really, really dire to watch.
So we've got to ask the question.
I'm looking at results as well.
The fans' reaction tonight, after the Bristol City game. We know it'll probably be all over social media now, and it's all over, obviously, the Pulis out banner. There was a chorus of Pulis out around the crowd. Has the tide finally turned, Phil?
Do you know what? I don't admit it, but I think the fans have spoken. I have never heard anything. And you know what really annoyed me? What started that off was Bristol fans singing rubbish football. Then South Stand get on board.
What was they singing?
I don't think we can do that. But then South Stand very quickly changed that to We Want Pulis Out, and then North Stand, and I've never heard anything like. I think the fans have spoken now.
I must admit, when the chant went up from the Bristol fans, I don't know if they've got history with him or if it's like a Bristol Channel thing because he's over the channel in Wales. But when the singing came up and then our fans started carried on with it, for that split second there was just as many fans in the South Stand singing pro-Boro songs and trying to drown them out almost. So, almost as if saying, behave, we'll sing something else instead, we'll get behind the team. And then as the game went on, there was more booze.
But you know what? I've got to say, it took a towel to be brought onto the pitch for the majority of fans to get behind the team. 65 minutes into the game before we heard any singing around the stadium.
That's not the actual towel, by the way.
And I think
that's a stock towel.
You want the team to do well. I mean, there was a few passes that went astray. And instead of us sitting there at least a try,
it was deathly quiet at the Riverside tonight. It was deathly quiet. You could have had a pin drop at some point.
It took Saville to run into the back of a player to take a quick throw in, and a towel to be brought on the pitch by Mo Besic before I even realised there was fans sat around me. I'll be honest, and I just you've got to get behind the team.
Well, whatever sparks that, it only takes a match to burn a forest, doesn't it? Whatever sparks that off, I don't care what it is. I'm
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
happy
look,
that we
fellas,
saw
let's
that
hope that
reaction
spark
from the
goes. We've
players.
got Swansea at the weekend. Swansea away. Obviously, just to let you know, we've got no coach. RedArmy's got no coach going down to Swansea. We have got coaches going to Bolton. If that game is to take place, after what we've heard from obviously the press today, if that game takes place, and obviously down to Forest. So if you want your travel, you just get in touch with us in the normal ways. Fellas, very quickly, we're running out of time. We could spend hours talking about the way we've sort of nosedived and dropping like a stone over the last couple of weeks. We're going down to Swansea. Now they've got a 3-0 win tonight against Brentford, which is a great win. Who beat us at home.
Yeah.
How do we... In fact, I just want a prediction. Just give me a prediction.
Pains me to say it. I don't think we'll win. I think we'll get beat.
3-0 Swansea.
Yeah.
I think that's what I can give you.
Well, I'm going to be ever the optimist now. I'm going to go for a 1-0 win because I think there is some points to be still played for.
Can I just tag someone on there as well? I think we'll be managerless.
You think we'll be managerless? Do you think we'll be managerless, Phil?
God knows. I hope not, but the way it's gone tonight, I think so.
I can't see any way back after the crowd.
I just think with the time out season left, I don't think it'll go. That's all from RedArmy TV on a night where we're down and dusted. Join us next week and let's keep the faith.